In 1970, the American grocery store coffee aisle was dominated by a small handful of familiar names. Folgers had recently overtaken its longtime rival Maxwell House to become the top-selling ground coffee brand in the entire country, powered by the growing popularity of instant coffee and years of aggressive, genuinely memorable marketing campaigns that saturated American television for decades. Chock-full O' Nuts, another well-established American brand with deep roots stretching back many decades, remained a familiar presence on store shelves as well, though it would gradually lose ground over the following decades as the wider market shifted around it. Internationally, Nestle's Nescafé brand was already a significant player in instant coffee, though its presence in the American market specifically remained relatively modest compared to homegrown giants like Folgers and Maxwell House at this point in history. Through the 1980s and 1990s, Folgers and Maxwell House continued their long battle for dominance of the American ground coffee market, together controlling well over half of all grocery store coffee sales for decades at a stretch, largely insulated from any serious outside competition during this period. Meanwhile, other retail brands quietly built their own loyal followings in smaller corners of the market. Lavazza carried Italy's rich espresso tradition to grocery shelves worldwide. Café Bustelo brought bold Latin American-style coffee into mainstream American kitchens, and Illy became synonymous with premium Italian quality among more discerning coffee drinkers willing to pay more. Everything in the retail coffee category changed dramatically with the rise of single-serve pod brewing. Green Mountain Coffee, the company behind the Keurig brewing system, introduced an entirely new way for people to make coffee at home, one cup at a time, without grinding beans or measuring out grounds by hand. What started as a fairly niche convenience product exploded into a genuine category-wide disruption throughout the 2010s, fundamentally reshaping how millions of households brewed their morning coffee and forcing every other retail brand to adapt quickly or risk being left behind entirely. Through all of this domestic upheaval, Nescafé kept quietly expanding across the rest of the world, largely outside the media spotlight that Folgers, Maxwell House, and the American pod revolution consistently commanded. Nestle's brand grew steadily and relentlessly into nearly every country on Earth, becoming the default instant coffee choice across huge portions of the world, where ground or filter coffee was never the cultural norm to begin with in the first place. By the mid-2020s, that quiet, patient global expansion had paid off enormously. Nescafé had grown into the single largest retail coffee brand on the entire planet, commanding more than half of the world's instant coffee market all by itself, while Folgers and Maxwell House, the two brands that had once utterly dominated the American coffee aisle without any serious challenge, had both fallen well behind, real proof that steady global reach can eventually outlast even the most dominant regional home market advantage.